I'm 18 years old, sitting in my room in the middle of the night, my hands trembling as I try to type this out, because I cannot sleep, I cannot eat, I cannot stop the relentless replay of what happened earlier this week, and I am genuinely, profoundly scared for myself in a way I have never been before, because when the assault was happening, when this man, this person I thought I could trust, this person who was supposed to be safe, did what he did to me, I remember feeling almost detached, like I was watching it happen to someone else, like it wasn't really my body he was touching, my boundaries he was violating, my trust he was shattering, and I walked away from that experience thinking it wasn't a big deal, thinking I was fine, thinking I could just shake it off and move on with my life like it was nothing, and even the day after, I went through the motions, I smiled at people, I answered questions, I pretended like everything was normal, because that is what we do. Isn't it? We pretend, we push it down, we tell ourselves we are okay because the alternative, the reality of what happened, is too big, too heavy, too terrifying to confront. But the thing about trauma is that it doesn't care about your denial, it doesn't care about your carefully constructed walls, it waits, it bides its time, and then, when you least expect it, it crashes through every defense you have built and leaves you gasping for air. And that is where I am now, a few days later, lying in my bed with my heart pounding, my skin crawling, my stomach churning, my mind a chaotic storm of images and sounds and sensations that I cannot escape, because every time I close my eyes, I see him, I see his face, I see his hands, I feel his weight, I smell his scent, and I am right back there, trapped in that moment, unable to move, unable to scream, unable to do anything except relive the horror over and over again. And I have been taking extra melatonin, more than I should, just to try to force my brain to shut down, but it doesn't work, it never works, because the panic is stronger than any sedative, and I end up jolting awake in a cold sweat, gasping for breath, my heart racing so fast I think I might die, and I have to stumble out of bed, turn on all the lights, check every corner of my room, convince myself that I am safe, that he is not here, that I am alone. But the relief only lasts a few minutes before the images start creeping back in, and I'm right back in that spiral, that endless, exhausting, terrifying spiral that I cannot seem to break free from, and on top of that, I haven't eaten all week, because the thought of food makes me nauseous, because every time I try to put something in my mouth, I remember the feeling of his hands on me, the taste of his breath, the way I felt so utterly powerless, and my stomach rebels, and I end up gagging or vomiting or just sitting there, staring at the food, unable to bring myself to take a single bite, and I know that I am not taking care of myself, I know that I am falling apart, I know that this is not sustainable, but I cannot seem to make myself do the basic things that normal people do, the things that I used to do without thinking, like eating and sleeping and showering and leaving my room, because all of those things feel impossible now, all of those things are overshadowed by the constant, gnawing presence of what happened to me, and I am scared, truly scared, because I have never felt like this before. I have never been so completely undone by something, I have never felt so helpless and broken and alone, and I don't know what to do, I don't know how to fix this, I don't know if this is normal, if this is just the way trauma works, if I just have to ride it out and hope that someday it gets better, or if I need to do something drastic, something immediate, to keep myself from falling apart completely, and I am reaching out, here, in this space, because I don't know where else to go, I don't know who else to talk to, I don't know if anyone will understand, but I have to try, I have to ask, because I cannot keep going like this, I cannot keep living in this waking nightmare, and I need to know if I am alone in this, if other people have felt this way and survived, if there is a way through this that doesn't destroy me in the process. The assault itself, the event that has triggered this cascade of symptoms, was not what I expected an assault to look like, because we have these images in our heads, we have these cultural scripts about what sexual violence is supposed to be, and usually it involves strangers in dark alleys or violent attacks or clear, unambiguous violations, but my experience was none of those things. It was someone I knew, someone I trusted, someone who used my trust as a weapon, who manipulated me and pressured me and pushed past my boundaries until I was so confused and overwhelmed and scared that I just froze. I just let it happen, because that is what our bodies do sometimes. They freeze, they shut down, they try to protect us from the full impact of the trauma by disconnecting us from the present moment, and I was disconnected. I was floating somewhere above my body, watching this happen to me, and I remember thinking, this is not a big deal, this is not really happening, I will be fine. I will just pretend this didn't happen, I will just move on, and I did, for a day, I did move on, I compartmentalized, I dissociated, I went through the motions like a robot, and I thought I had gotten away with it, I thought I had outsmarted my own trauma, but trauma is smarter than that, trauma is patient, trauma waits until you feel safe and then it strikes, and now I am paying the price for all that denial, all that pretending, all that desperate hope that I could just skip over the hard part and get to the healing, because healing does not work that way. You cannot skip the hard part, you cannot bypass the pain, you have to feel it, you have to sit in it, you have to let it wash over you until you think you will drown, and then, somehow, you have to find a way to come up for air. But I'm not there yet, I'm still in the middle of the storm, still being tossed around by waves of panic and nausea and terror, and I don't know how to find the shore. I don't know how to save myself, and I am terrified that I'm going to drown. The symptoms I am experiencing are textbook acute stress response. I know that intellectually, I have studied psychology, I have read about trauma, I know that what I'm going through is a normal reaction to an abnormal event, but knowing that does not make it any easier to endure, because knowing that panic attacks are a common response to trauma does not make them less terrifying when you are in the middle of one. Knowing that loss of appetite is a common symptom does not make it any less frightening when you realize you haven't eaten in days. Knowing that sleep disturbances are normal does not make it any less exhausting when you are lying awake at 3 in the morning, your brain refusing to shut off, replaying the assault on a loop like a broken record. And I find myself thinking, is this my life now? Is this going to be forever? Am I ever going to feel normal again? Am I ever going to be able to eat a meal without wanting to throw up? Am I ever going to be able to close my eyes without seeing his face? Am I ever going to be able to trust another person? Am I ever going to be able to feel safe in my own body, my own home, my own skin? And the answers to those questions feel impossible, feel so far away, feel like they belong to a version of me that no longer exists, because the person